The Whimsical Wanderings of Gabby Gwen. Oh, quirky quill, what a day for some dimension hopping and curio collecting. Gabby Gwen exclaims as she bustles about her craft and teleport station. Thunder rumbles ominously outside as rain patters against the windows. Indeed, your enthusiasm for inclement weather never ceases to perplex me, the snarky magic journal replies. Though I suppose it does provide an excellent backdrop for your flights of fancy. Speaking of fancy, I simply must show you my latest trading card acquisitions before we depart, Gwen gushes. She rifles through a stack of colorful cards, her jingly bracelets and clanky earrings creating a cacophonous symphony. Ooh, here's a lovely one, the whimsical Wisteria Tea Room. And this labyrinth of lace maze card is simply divine. Fascinating, quirky quill drawls sarcastically. Your penchant for frivolous collectibles knows no bounds. Gwen ignores the jab, too caught up in her excitement. And just look at this exquisite Rococo updo hairstyle card. I simply must try recreating it. She pats her own towering coiffure, currently styled in an elaborate braided updo with a wispy veil. Heaven forbid your hair be anything less than a structural marvel, the journal quips. Oh hush, you sassy tome, Gwen chides playfully. She adjusts her platform clogs and rearranges her detachable overskirt, transforming it into a billowing cape. There. Now I'm properly attired for interdimensional shopping. Because one must always dress to impress when teleporting, quirky quill remarks dryly. Precisely. Gwen chirps, oblivious to the sarcasm. She activates the teleportation device with a flourish. First stop, the Bazaar of Bizarre Baubles on the planet Whimsy. In a flash, Gwen and her journal materialize in a swirling vortex of color and light. When the dizzying motion subsides, they find themselves in a bustling marketplace unlike any other. Floating islands connected by rainbow bridges host an array of eccentric shops and stalls. The sky above is a kaleidoscope of purples and greens, with mini tornadoes and snow flurries coexisting in defiance of meteorological logic. Great galloping gooseberries. Gwen exclaims. Just look at this marvelous menagerie of merchants. Yes, it's a veritable cornucopia of questionable commerce, quirky quill observes wryly. As they wander the bizarre bazaar, a group of comically overzealous jesters in jingling motley approach. Greetings, good lady. The lead jester proclaims. Might we tempt you with our terrific tisanes and tantalizing tarts? Ooh, how lovely. Gwen claps her hands in delight. What flavors do you have? The jesters launch into a rapid-fire recitation. We've got topsy-turvy turmeric, whimsical wisteria, perplexing peppermint, giggling ginger, loopy lavender, silly cinnamon swirl. I'll take one of each. Gwen interrupts enthusiastically. As she sips her way through the dizzying array of beverages, Gwen browses the nearby stalls. Oh my, look at these marvelous attachable sleeves. She gushes, admiring a rack of wildly patterned fabric tubes. Ooh, and these miniature topiaries shaped like teapots are simply adorable. Your propensity for purchasing useless frippery never fails to astound, quirky quill remarks. Nonsense. Everything has a use if you're creative enough, Gwen retorts. She gasps suddenly, distracted by a new sight. Great googly moogly. Is that a carousel closet? Indeed, a massive rotating wardrobe spins slowly before them, each section revealing new and increasingly outlandish outfits with every turn. Step right up, calls the taffeted vendor. Peruse our plethora of peculiar petticoats and preposterous pantaloons. Don't mind if I do. Gwen squeals, dashing over to examine the revolving racks of clothing. As she sorts through layers of tulle and chiffon, a familiar voice booms from the swirling clouds above. Gwen! Must you fritter away your time on such frivolous frippery? Oh bother, it's Zeus again, Gwen sighs. Always raining on my parade, quite literally in this case. Indeed, localized storm clouds have begun to form directly over Gwen's head, pelting her with a mixture of rain and colorful confetti. Your incessant pursuit of whimsy vexes me to no end. The thunderous voice continues. Cease this foolishness at once. Now see here, you tempestuous tempest, quirky quill interjects. Your meteorological meddling is most unwelcome. Kindly take your storm clouds elsewhere. Silence, impertinent inkwell. Zeus bellows. I'll not be sassed by sentient stationary. As the god of thunder continues his tirade, a group of Gwen's prattle pet friends suddenly appear. Fear not, fair Gwen, proclaims Teddy Bear. We shall vanquish this vociferous vexation. Indeed, agrees Chimney Sweep. This bombastic blowhard shan't rain on your retail therapy. The pets spring into action. Sybaritic Squirrel begins pelting Zeus's storm clouds with acorns, while Chalky Chipmunk creates a dazzling display of colorful chalk dust to obscure the god's view. Petulant Panda simply glares upward and declares, "Your meteorological machinations malign my monochromatic magnificence. Cease and desist, you chromatic cretin. Begone, pestilent plush playthings." Zeus thunders. But the combined efforts of the prattle pets prove too much for even the king of the gods. With a final frustrated rumble, his storm clouds dissipate. "Oh, thank you ever so much, my darling dears." Gwen gushes, hugging each of her fuzzy defenders in turn. "Whatever would I do without you? Probably shop in peace without constant interruption," Quirky Quill mutters. "Now then, where were we?" Gwen muses, turning back to the carousel closet. "Ah yes, I simply must try on this plaid fat ensemble." As she disappears into a changing booth, a new commotion arises nearby. Two gruff voices can be heard arguing. "I'm tellin' ya, Grubby, I saw her first. That there magic broom sprite is gonna be my gal." "In your dreams, Goofy. Dusty's way too classy for the likes of you." Gwen emerges from the booth, now clad in a riot of clashing plaids, to find two disheveled cowboys squabbling in front of a rather annoyed-looking enchanted broom. The broom, sporting an elaborate powdered wig and layers of miniature overskirts along its handle, appears to be trying to sweep itself away from the situation. "Now boys," Gwen interjects, "is that any way to court a lady? Even one of the cleaning implement variety?" The broom, Dusty, swishes its bristles in agitation and speaks in a series of nonsensical sweeping sounds. Swish swish whoosh. Sweep sweep swish. "You tell 'em, Dusty." Cheers a cluster of glowing will-o'-the-wisps hovering nearby. "These hooligans are all wet." "Aw, shucks," mumbles Goofy, scuffing his boot in the dirt. "We didn't mean no harm. We just think Dusty here's the prettiest little broomstick this side of the Milky Way." "That may be," Gwen says gently, "but pestering her won't win her affections. Why don't you try writing her a poem or picking her some nice flowers instead?" The cowboys exchange sheepish glances. "Aw, I guess you're right, ma'am," Grubby concedes. "Come on, Goofy, let's go see if we can rustle up some of them fancy space daisies." As the chastened quarters shuffle off, Dusty lets out a relieved whoosh. Swish swish. "Sweep." "You're quite welcome," Gwen replies with a smile. "Though I must say, your personal life seems rather sweeping." Dusty bristles at the pun, then promptly sweeps herself away in a huff. "I do believe you've been brushed off," Quirky Quill quips. Before Gwen can retort, a new voice pipes up, "Yoo-hoo. Gabby Gwen, darling. Over here." Gwen turns to see a familiar feline grin materializing nearby. "Why, hello there, Cheshire Cat. What brings you to this neck of the woods? Or should I say, this section of space-time?" The Cheshire Cat's grin widens impossibly. "Oh, you know me. I go where the madness is maddest and the tea is tea-timiest. Speaking of which, I don't suppose you'd care to join a little tea party? The Mad Hatter is hosting a positively peculiar soiree just around the corner. There will be riddles and rhymes and really wild things." "Ooh, how delightful." Gwen claps her hands in excitement. "I'd be simply mad to miss it." "Somehow I doubt that's possible," Quirky Quill mutters. Ignoring the journal's sass, Gwen follows the floating feline grin to a whimsical tea garden. Mismatched tables and chairs of every shape and size are scattered about, many defying gravity by floating or being positioned upside down. The Mad Hatter himself presides over the chaos, perched atop a teetering tower of teapots. "Welcome, welcome," he cries, doffing his ridiculously tall hat. "You're just in time for tea time, which is all the time here. Pull up a chair, any chair will do, even the imaginary ones are quite comfy." Gwen settles into a plush armchair that appears to be made entirely of cotton candy. No sooner has she sat down than a pair of sentient playing cards scurry up, laden with trays. "Terribly sorry to trouble you," the Five of Hearts begins, "but might we interest you in some topsy-turvy tarts? Or perhaps a spot of paradoxical pico?" The Seven of Clubs chimes in. "Both sound simply splendid," Gwen replies. As she nibbles and sips, the Mad Hatter leans in conspiratorially. "I say, my dear, have you heard the latest riddle making the rounds? Why is a raven like a writing desk?" Before Gwen can hazard a guess, a new voice interrupts. "Bah! Such frivolous foolishness. A true intellectual would ponder the quantum quandaries of our quizzical quasar." The speaker is revealed to be a bespectacled panda wearing a tweed jacket with elbow patches. He puffs importantly on a bubble pipe, sending a stream of equation-shaped bubbles into the air. Well, if it isn't Paradox Professor, the Cheshire Cat purrs. Come to befuddle us with your quantum quackery? I'll have you know, you grinning goon, the panda huffs, that my theories on the space-time continuum are revolutionary. Why, just the other day I postulated that. But whatever the professor was about to postulate is lost as a whirlwind of glitter suddenly engulfs the tea party. When it clears, a dazzling drag queen stands before them, resplendent in a gown that seems to be made of living flames. Sorry I'm late to the party, darlings. The newcomer announces. You know what they say, the devil is in the details, and it takes time to look this devilishly good. Drag queen devil. Gwen exclaims. How marvelous to see you. Your gown is positively infernal. Why thank you, sweetie, the devil preens. I do try to bring a little hellfire and brimstone to every occasion. Speaking of which, who's up for some sinfully spicy cinnamon scones? As platters of steaming pastries appear in puffs of smoke, a commotion arises from a nearby topiary garden. The carefully manicured shrubs, trimmed into the shapes of various cartoon characters, seem to be arguing amongst themselves. I say, that's most irregular, the Mad Hatter muses. Usually the topiaries don't start gossiping until at least past tea time. Upon closer inspection, it becomes clear that the topiaries are actually the crafty cartoons come to life. Tacky Duck, resplendent in a suit made entirely of mismatched neckties, is engaged in a heated debate with Funny Bunny, who clutches an oversized journal covered in blinking googly eyes. I'm telling you, Tacky insists, polka dots and plaid are a perfectly acceptable combination. It's the height of fashion. Perhaps in Bizarro World, Funny Bunny retorts. Now, if you want true style, nothing beats a well-embellished journal. Why, just look at this tassel fringe. In these pop-up pages. Pure elegance. Elegant? Ha! Scoffs a new voice. A Scottish fold cat wearing a towering hat that appears to be constructed entirely of fruit steps forward. You call that a fancy accessory? Now this is the pinnacle of millinery magnificence. Screamy Scotty. Gwen exclaims. How lovely to see you. Your hat is positively produce-tastic. I, thank ye kindly, Scotty preens. Fresh from me Tippy Top's Train Boutique. Care to try one on? I've got a lovely little number made entirely of artichokes that would suit you splendidly. Before Gwen can reply, a jelly-like giraffe wobbles into view, its translucent body filled with swirling, colorful patterns. Did someone say splendid? It queries in a quavering voice. Because I've just whipped up a batch of psychedelic panna cotta that's simply out of this world. Guaranteed to make your taste buds do the cha-cha. Jiggles the jelly giraffe. Gwen claps her hands in delight. Oh, I simply must try some of your wibbly-wobbly wonders. As Gwen samples the dizzying array of desserts, a sleepy-looking tabby cat floats by, snoring gently. Tendrils of dream stuff trail behind him, forming fleeting images of distant planets and alien landscapes. Pay touchy tabby no mind, Funny Bunny explains. He's off on another spirit trip. Who knows what far-flung corners of the cosmos he's exploring this time. Suddenly, a postcard flutters down from above, coming to life as it lands on the table. A miniature artist materializes atop it, complete with easel and palette. Greetings, fellow fanciful folk. The tiny painter proclaims. Painty the postcard, at your service. Care for a pint-sized portrait or a wee watercolor wonder?